The controversy over the planned high-speed rail link HS2 has been headlining in the UK for a decade now. The Oakervie review of HS2 in December 2019 concluded that the high-speed rail link could help deliver the government's commitment to bring greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. On the 15th of February, HS2 Ltd revised their existing environmental policy. HS2 told us, "We updated HS2's environmental policy to more clearly communicate our environmental objectives. We haven't changed any of our commitments to our environmental protection." As HS2 is a major development, the Wildlife Trust has commissioned the first comprehensive assessment of the risks to environmental damage. We spoke with Wildlife Trust CEO Ed Green about the report.
HS2 will result in considerable loss of wildlife, and it will permanently structurally alter the natural environment in England. It's going to establish a barrier for most species who rely on ecological connectivity from one side of the line to the other. Where HS2 say that they're going to produce no net loss, there are various ways of measuring that. HS2 has been given permission to come up with its own system, and lo and behold, in its own system that it chooses to use, it comes out with a net loss. The easiest way of explaining how HS2's process is flawed is that it doesn't take into account ancient woodland. And because you can't replace it, it's discounted from the metric they use to measure the impact on the environment. For HS2 to say that it's going to have no net loss on the environment is quite frankly absurd.
What do residents in Warwickshire feel about the environmental impact on where they live?
Obviously, I would rather that they certainly didn't bring down ancient trees, and I would imagine that some species will thrive, some species may never recover along that route. We should be looking at what we're going to be providing for the younger generation.
I think first of all, HS2 Limited are very, very clear about the environmental impact and therefore the mitigations that they can put in place. And if anyone takes the time to read their reports that are on their website.
I mean, the railway system we have now has been in use for at least 100 years. Anything else we build today, it's likely to last a similar amount of time. So, the damage is perfectly acceptable in my view. And I think they have done a lot to mitigate it. As it's been rerouted and into tunnels, into cuttings.
After 10 years of fighting it and going to Parliament and petitioning and, oh, goodness knows what, endless meetings, the bluebells in spring, you can feel that you're in an ancient woodland. You can feel that you're in a place that's so old and so mature, and it's going.
Should I look upon it as saying, oh, okay, it's bringing jobs to the area and it's improving the economy, and I get that we need to update our railways. I just wish that they'd come out of Westminster Village and have a look what it's doing to the local environment and how it's affecting the wildlife.
What is clear, and supported by both sides of the argument, is that HS2 will have an impact on the UK's environment. With population growth and government commitment to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050, expanding the railways can be one option in keeping commuters and freight off the roads to reduce carbon emissions. Whether or not HS2 is deemed the right answer will continue to be debated.